Let's see. Save your current progress? Heck yeah. I think I already did, but just in case I didn't. Bango. Here, Crumbus. Let's beat this case. Oh, shoot. My hair's in the way.
22nd November, 1:14 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2.
Well, I understand you're the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom? Ha! A judicial assistant, and a woman no less! The rule states that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ha! You're too late, little girl. The trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency!
I am most grateful.
Who exactly are you?
I'm sorry. There's no time. Please, simply accept this for now.
What is it? A report about something. Written in English.
It's Giselle Brett's research.
The Englishwoman's?
After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical facility, or faculty. In the medical faculty? Wait, you just call it medical faculty?
I guess. Could be a quirk of translation.
And borrowed this paper.
Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So does the research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case?
I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself.
Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Curare? What is that? I've never heard that word before.
Or is it curare? I don't know.
Time's up!
Or
The prosecution
curare?
demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
Giselle's report has been entered into the court record.
Detailing an
Unknown
poison.
poison.
Come on! You couldn't be more obvious.
They could have said unknown substance.
Yeah, or medicine.
Unknown liquid that Miss Brett has been researching. Goodbye then, and good luck.
I do like how Ouchie just immediately turns, like, just into a sexist pig the moment it's a Japanese woman. It's so tacky. You have long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask that the prosecution and the defense know, one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... Court record, must observe book.
Synopsis. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey.
So he wasn't dead, he was just out cold.
Ooh. Special characteristics effects. Instant paralysis of the entire body.
Actual death too.
And subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe or dart? Really?
Huh.
So is it? This is a bark rather than the poison frog stuff.
Yeah.
But practical applications. Wait, so was it a poisoned? No, it. Huh? Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have applications as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients could die of suffocation. Ew.
Could have had him burnt over the wound that would allow the poison entry? Ugh.
But he was already knocked out when the burn happened.
Yeah.
So...
But, no. He's already poisoned. They used the burn to hide the evidence. But, or it could have been... at the dentist, but no, it was like after a minute, so I don't know. We'll see.
Ugh.
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. Huh. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett,
Yes, Your Excellency.
if you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time, and I'll have to...
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
I have said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention?
The report.
Miss Jezzael Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yumei University doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death. What? What complete and utter nonsense! Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it! You wouldn't have done. Wait, you wouldn't have done? What?
It probably you wouldn't have.
Yeah, you wouldn't have. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What?
You always have to have pipe organs.
Order, order, order. Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report, authored by the visiting research...
this is Cosmo.
According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. Is this a real thing? This is a real poison, but I think it's been fudged a bit on the symptoms and features. Huh.
I mean, you also have the poison dart frogs, which have a pretty debilitating poison as well.
True.
So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bark that wasn't also...
I just know Phoenix Wright also has spirit mediums that they use as evidence, so it's like, well, I mean, they could just make up this stuff. It was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced by curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery! To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and other dinos surely would have noticed.
Nah, it causes paralysis, though.
That is true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. Huh. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they are in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death.
But it was the breathing that was an issue.
The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous! To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison.
Yeah, just utter silence.
And you're suggesting that this bottle, Council, actually contains this terrifying poison? This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense.
If I may.
All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you may...
It is you who must be taught.
Of course. Dear lady.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest hard work, and then announce the results as if you discovered them? I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree? Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
She's just gonna chug it. Well, yes, I don't see why not.
To demonstrate that it's not poison, she's just going to drink the whole thing. Oh, yep, there she has with the glass. Well, don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Wait, but you guys live on an island too. Great Britain?
A smaller island.
Japan's larger than England?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe, yeah. I wouldn't mind looking at the map, but I think Hokkaido is actually pretty large. And then, yeah, I have to look into the acreage, but they're both island people. So her insult doesn't make any sense.
I mean, she's just weird and garbage the entire way through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at this real quick if I can not look at my Thai food for a bit. So Japan is pretty big. No, actually. So the UK might actually be about the same size.
But are you including all of the British Isles, including Scotland and Ireland, or just England?
Okay. UK land area is 93,000 kilometers square. No. The map lies. Japan is 146. Oh, wait, miles squared. But miles are bigger than kilometers, yeah?
You need the same measurements. For both.
Japan land area kilometers is... Damn it, I say in kilometers and it's like 146 miles squared. And it's like, no, shut up. I'm looking for kilometers.
Wait.
It gives me the size of every other country in kilometers. What the hell?
Wait, does Japan use miles and England use
No, they don't.
kilometer? Wait.
Why is this so stupid? It's saying 364,000? I think. What's the problem? Google is being a shit.
We're trying
here
to.
we go.
She called
Japan's territory is 378 kilometers squared. Yeah. So Japan is much, much bigger.
them. Okay, Japan is larger than England, and also both England and Japan are island nations. Therefore, her
Yes.
odd.
Yeah, Japan is 3 times the size. Oh, boy. All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish court romantics. It's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers!
And then she just dies. Wait, what? What are you doing?
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Everyone's just looking on in utter shock. Anticipating. Goodness! Whatever's the matter? You all look quite stunned.
So, no curare. The bottle was clean, is what you're saying.
Oh, you look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I wish you'd like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Despite the fact at every juncture I've tried to insult you and yours.
Yeah.
But
Seriously.
Uh-huh.
Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. It doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she... The wound in the... Because it's wound-based. There is curare in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade, or sometimes they say charade, but whatever, will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
There has to have been poison in that bottle. Doesn't there? But there can't have been because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water contains poison.
It just has to be...
But it has poison. She bet on the fact that she had no wounds for it to enter through. Which
Watch
is
her
pretty...
have a minuscule cut
yeah.
in her cheek.
Like, how
on the
wild would
inside
that
of
have
her
been
mouth.
if it just was... Like, she died on the spot and then we had to figure out why.
Well, they would have said, well, she's poisoned.
But yeah.
But there's also the glass.
Like, what if you just abrased yourself on something a canker sore, a flossing, any number of small wounds.
Oh yeah,
would
yeah.
do it.
You could potentially have open wounds in your gums too.
Okay.
But yeah, there was that glass that she tucked away into her bag.
So it could be the glass that she tucked away into the bag. Could be the glass that she tucked away in the bag. Or it's...
It needs to have a wound, at which point... Oh! His molar! He had his molar taken out!
Yeah.
That was a wound!
Yeah. And so that's my point. This could have had poison in it. Because he had a wound and she does not.
Ah!
So it's either...
it contains poison.
Either it contains poison or the glass contained poison. And so either we present the evidence of one... I'm going to say contains poison.
And she just knew that he was going to drink it, and
Yeah.
because he had the dental appointment,
Yeah.
it would have...
He had the wound and she would not. The culprit did put curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious? Fool! Are you blind? There's no possible way the bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it.
That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think.
And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be.
Is it going to be the medical note?
Very well. Yeah, no, doctor's thing and then the medical note, probably. Very well. Or, not doctor's thing, her research, then the medical note.
Okay.
Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume the supposedly poisoned water unscathed?
Unscathed. Yes. Yeah.
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report. That is not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered as in its entirety by the court. We will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle?
Synopsis. Okay, no.
It's number 2.
Okay.
Route of entry. Special
of
characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Ah.
Get to the point, please.
Yeah, you couldn't poison the whole creature and taint the meat.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense. So if they bit their lips while they were chewing, they die. What brave, brave diners.
And Wander does it all the time.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
he'd be dead.
I would just... I will bite myself not infrequently. I have too many teeth. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes. The mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, It has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You know Curari's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself.
You meddling little
Swan. Yes! Called it!
rapscallion!
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer? All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how possibly...
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yes. Well, you want to write that one down?
Mm-hmm. Succus.
Oh,
I mean, it might be where sucker comes from,
possibly?
among other things.
Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they?
So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
Ah! That's right. Good gracious.
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand. No?
I mean, but he had a tooth removed? Like, I feel like you should be able to just retort sometimes early.
People have forgotten everything.
I just kind of wish you could sequence break each of these cases a little bit with a slightly different outcome. Like, actually, wound? Instead of all of this, like, oh, order in the court, order. Logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes! This curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you would understand something as simple as that.
What is this welling up inside me? Is he going to objection? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
I wish he had a much better objection than that.
Oh,
Her mask got
Max.
huge. I don't think so, Miss Jezeel Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me? That is a massive mask, but yep.
You know very well there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. Yeah, his pursuit theme is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love all the instruments that they're using.
it's really good. The Phoenix Wright one I think is more immediately catching, but this one is better.
Mm-hmm.
As we now know, this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why the hell would she put poison in a bottle, though?
Mm-hmm.
Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare? Are you all fools? As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental, fatal difference between the two diners.
Wander?
Let's see. One of the few times I really wish you could hear the music. I can turn it up. The big problem is...
Yeah, the problem is, did
So
you turn
audi-
it down too much?
Well, here's the thing. What might sound right to me might not sound right to everybody else. I'll turn it up. Not by too much. Is that better?
You'll have to make note of that and maybe
Yeah, the
cycle
music's
the
actually
recording.
pretty loud. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Oh, it's not that. I'm deaf. Oh.
Oh.
Well, that would do it. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I have a history of not balancing my audio well. Yeah, it's too loud. Yeah, unfortunately, if you want the properly balanced audio, you might have to wait for the YouTube videos, though. Even then, I don't know. What sounds good to me might not sound good to everybody else. You're able to follow along because you have live caption. The live caption can translate music. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Though that's really cool that live caption works that way.
Mm-hmm.
A fatal difference.
Ah!
I can't get over that stupid mask. The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you'd just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Ah! Ah! Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day.
Ah!
So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this.
Hmm.
Is she laughing?
I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are also puerile.
What? What do you mean?
Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. Is she going to use that bottle to break it over? Oh, what? You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it.
No.
I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
No!
Not to mention that she drank it all.
What is it? What just happened? It's the English woman. She just smashed a bottle. And in the Supreme Court, what a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once.
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it.
How could you? You won't get away with this.
You can thump the bench and shout as much as you'd like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not.
You.
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact.
My God, this is still going.
Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution?
Oh, of course you're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady.
That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
No, you killed the victim that day, using curare. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, In the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit the crime.
Except she's going to laugh and say, well, my purse didn't have the gun in it, and then they're going to ask about where the
Real gun is. Boy, this is still going on. I am baffled.
Oh, what a wonderful imagination you have, young man.
God.
A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence.
Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused Ryunosuke Naruhodo. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening?
They're really not going to take into account the fact that she
I can't believe
intentionally
that they're just,
destroyed
ignoring
evidence.
the fact that she just destroyed evidence. And they're just going to ignore it because she's hounding Ryunosuke. But we had her, but now is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence. It's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, it must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing that you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that the woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head.
Oh.
So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every color.
Blood?
Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? What? I mean, I'll save.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can say there's a clue. He just remembered the blood.
Okay, Twitch is not freaking out. Yeah, it looks like we're still fine. So, there's two clues that I can think of. Obviously, the mystery sauce that we cannot really see here, which is kind of frustrating. That glass is also still filled.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably gone.
But remember, yeah. The thing is, I think the point is she was just saying that he must have been shot by Ryunosuke because he was turned around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he was originally facing the other direction, which would account for...
The burn.
Well, the blood.
And the blood. Actually, Cosmo, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. Been niggling at me for a while. It's that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all of this. It's here, somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... I mean, come on!
The thing is, we can't see it in the photograph, so how are we gonna... Their photographs are only black and white.
But it might... I mean, remember, the detective stole everything.
He stole things?
It's
true.
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes, what is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of the steak that you took to the victim's table that day? Wait a minute! Where are you going with it?
Where are you going with this little boy?
It's just a memory that's been troubling me.
What memory?
I saw this scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What?
Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor.
No exit wound. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of this steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Ah! Huh. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Jezebel Brett.
I beg your pardon.
This is beyond ridiculous, fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing? This...
Look at that. She has a handkerchief. And she's dabbing her
could
face.
be the moment my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate. In the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime, I took it, meat and all. And I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
I took the steak that you'd been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. I stole the whole damn restaurant. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now.
Oh.
How did he not notice the blood on the plate? Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay.
Hopefully he chose the right plate.
Here's what you ordered, the steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector, the blood man, show the court. Of course. Examine the plates at your leisure.
No, it looks perfectly clean.
Because it's not the right one.
It's not the right one.
No, no blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible. Wait. Huh.
What?
Non-spoiler trivia, according to Wiki, her name is supposed to be a pun on the gun Watson from Sherlock Holmes used, and the word bullet. Makes sense, actually. I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. Because that's not the same steak.
Oh, what an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you.
Gah! I couldn't agree more. The case of this disgrace to the Empire. So Wander was right about the steak switch? I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Well, we always knew that a steak had to be switched.
Yeah.
Because
they didn't match.
They didn't match. Watson
whatever,
couldn't
we'll keep
eat.
going. Let's see if I'm validated. I believe we may have finally reached a conclusion in this trial.
Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget about it all when it's over.
Ha! This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Okay, the plate of steak has been added to the court record. Was the plate I saw or thought I saw just a figment of my imagination. This is it now. I've lost. You mentioned the sergeant's plate. Can we see that one too? Ryunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Huh? Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself. Really? Huh. Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. I guess I should probably examine
You should look at
now.
it as swiftly as possible.
I mean, the main thing is...
Here, look at the stake.
I mean, it doesn't match the drawing, which annoys me.
The gold coin!
Huh?
He was trying to steal it.
Oh, the sergeant was stealing the coin.
The sergeant was stealing the coin and it couldn't be found.
That's even tackier.
Uh-huh.
What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. And the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe. No. I don't mean, what is it? I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. Huh. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I never heard of a bullion in bullion. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath a thick cut of meat. It's from the Hoei era, too. That would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well. Look. What are you thinking of eating it? No. And the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke. Koban coin underneath the steak. There's only one logical explanation.
All right. We have to present it.
Well, we have to get to that point.
Yes.
I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection?
Yes, objection.
That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all?
Yes.
There's another clue. I really wish if you'd have examined it like right before, it would just be you wouldn't even have to submit it.
Mm-hmm.
It just immediately goes into, hey, do we want to tell them about this right now? No. We'll wait for a bit. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak.
Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of this evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied with all reasonable doubt has been dispelled and I have eaten the steak.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court what you're alluding. Where precisely on this piece of beefsteak is the new clue to be found?
Underneath it.
Got it!
Wait, what?
No, Counsel. I'm afraid that won't do. That was ambiguous at best.
What? They penalized us because we couldn't lift the steak? How do you interact with it?
Maybe... Okay.
Turn the steak over. Come on.
Okay, so we have to examine it and lift it. Oh, maybe I have to press A.
There you go.
They didn't give me a interact button. This is stupid.
I mean, obviously you're not
fine,
reloading.
It's fine, but it's stupid that
We probably
you
would
can
have gotten a
examine it,
perfect
have that
achievement.
dialogue, and then he's like, "It's under the meat." No, I don't believe you. Lifts the meat. See, it's under the meat. You're still penalized anyway. Come on.
Uh-huh.
Come on! Are you kidding me?
They're having this
It's
conversation
so stupid!
all over again? Why?
Ah!
What's it doing there?
Damn it!
Yeah, Hoei Koban.
Come on!
Oh, no.
Come on!
I would have actually liked it if you had lifted the stake.
It would have stayed lifted.
It would have stayed
Yeah,
lifted when you
exactly.
presented the evidence. You know how some pieces of evidence you have,
This
you
is
know-
so stupid. Because here's the thing, it doesn't actually give you an interact icon. Like, if you
Uh-huh.
notice, it says history and present. There's no, like, press A to interact button. Which is why I was assuming I'd just do present, because we'd already found it.
mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Got it!
Stupid. Good gracious, that's... Come on!
What on earth?
Hoei Arrow wanted that. Oh, wait, no. Hoei Arrow wanted that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, isn't it?
Hmm.
Tell me. Why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it.
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happened to be underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel. A rare Hoei Koban just happened to be hidden underneath that slab of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant.
Even though I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is... The interesting thing is, it's Curio Korikudo,
Curio.
but also Iesanosa. Because he owns the coin, he knows why it's there.
Right, but he hadn't sold it to him yet, so we're saying that it's Curio.
Yeah, it's got to be Curio, but my assumption is...
Because right now they're asking you if the owner can identify
yeah,
the coin.
it's true. It's true.
So we're going to choose Curio.
I almost kind of wish you could do both. It would just give you, like, it would just kind of fill it in, but whatever. Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and the owner of Rasute, Curio Korikuda, Korikuda-san.
Curie? As in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable.
Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, but what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoei Koban, my prize coin! Then this Hoei Koban, do you mean to tell me? Oh, no. Please, why would the Korikuda-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Because the steak is not Brett's.
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korikuda-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here, without a moment's delay.
So now we're going to have to go through a whole rigmarole where we determine that the sergeant stole the coin.
Correct. Before we play any of the future cases, I'm gonna look up how long each of them are so I can get proper stopping points. Like my voice is on its last legs.
Well, especially because you have so many men to voice act
so
as well.
many. I can't believe we've come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find out that it's a key element in the case.